Hello guys, this is Grandmaster Timur Gareev, and today we're going to take a look at the most aggressive line that White plays against Grunfeld nowadays, and that is going to be move 5h4. So in this position, Black has definitely several options which we're going to examine, including d takes c, picking up the pawn on c4. So what is the idea of h4? Well, we want to push on the king side and at the same time create a little pressure in the center as well. So before we jump into this game that I'm about to show you that I played against Ray Robson, we're going to take a look at how this position arises. d4, knight f6, c4, expanding in the center, g6, bring the knight out, and here if Black continues bishop g7, then we're going to continue e4, d6, and now there's certainly lines with h4, but this is a different kind of opening. This is King's Indian, and now after knight c3, when Black plays d5 before developing the bishop, that engages in the center straight away, and White has to respond to it, or at least be aware of that, of Black's counter-attacking presence in the center. So knight comes out to f3. It's not so easy to expand straight away. There is an option of picking up the pawn on d5, knight takes, e4 forward. So now you do have a strong center, and Black at the same time is going to be trying to target it with c5, having the bishop pretty well wide open along the g7 a1 diagonal. Knight f3, bishop g7, and in this position we're going to play h4. So very important to learn the move order to begin with, which is going to become fairly natural by the time we go through most of the major lines. At this point, Ray went ahead and took on c4. This is actually one of the most challenging lines that you guys will have in this opening. D takes c. White naturally expands in the center, pushing e4. c5 is the move that you see in just about every Grunfeld game. Black wants to activate the g7, King's Indian, Grunfeld bishop along the diagonal. So what is White supposed to do? Well, White wants to gain more space, pushing forward. c4 pawn is hanging. Black has the idea of playing b5. This is the major line. Black is defending the pawn, and at the same time, knight can go ahead and pick it up. At the same time, e4 is going to be hanging. So the e4 central pawn is very important. White continues to break on the king side, and if Black decides to pick up the pawn with the knight, now White can take on b5, since e4 central pawn is not hanging, and the c4 is about to go down. The material is equal. We'll take a look. This is definitely a worthy continuation for Black. Ray goes ahead and castles, and that's the main line. White continues to open up the h-file for the rook on h1 right here. Black has a continuation of h takes g and f takes g. This is what Ray played in the game, and I continued pushing forward in the center with e5, hitting the knight on f6. Knight g4 is fairly natural, and up until this point Ray seemed very comfortable, but as I played d6, he took quite a bit of time to figure out what to do in this position. And certainly bishop b7 that he played in the game is not the best option. The best one is to play e6, and after there's several continuations, and for example, after rook h7, there's a game played Morzevich and Vitigov versus Roger. We're certainly going to take a look at this. So this is some crazy attacking lines. Now, those are fairly double-edged. Bishop b7 certainly allows White to gain major advantage. Now, to begin with, what is the white trying to do? Well, as you can see, those arrows pointing the d5 square got freed up, for the queen to come in and make a double attack. So black is better defend the d5 square. So e6 is the best option. Bishop b7 is a possibility. I go ahead and play bishop g5. This is a strong idea. Knight b5 was a strong idea as well in this position. After bishop b7, pick up the pawn right there on b5. And now c4 is hanging, combined with knight going to g5. This is super strong. Now bishop g5 is another good option. And knight c6 Ray played. I guess in this position queen d7 was recommended, and this is going to be a better version of what happened in the game. Knight c6, I'm going to go ahead and take on the e7, forcing black to go ahead and exchange the queens, because knight cannot take the pawn. I'm going to exchange and then to pick up that defenseless knight on e7. Queen exchanges on d1, rook takes d1, and the rook is hanging on f8. So right about now, black has to play active. Rook f3 is a possibility. Now, I will win quite a bit of material, exactly rook for 2 pawns, and this should be enough to win the game. So rook f5 was played, and now rook d8 is still possible. I didn't really like this continuation quite as much, because this position is just hard to prove the exact advantage, or rather hard for white's pieces to coordinate and take this game to the finish and win it. Certainly it looks like white has advantage, but it just didn't seem like the most clear way to reach the winning advantage. So knight takes b5, and this is a simple move I played, picking up the pawn. My bishop from f1, as you can see, wants to pick up the pawn on c4. And another resource that is available to white, which is very important, is that knight coming from b5 towards the d6 square right here. Black continues to pick up the pawn on e5 with the knight from g4. So this doesn't stop my knight from penetrating. Capture. So now the bishop on g5 is actually hanging. Now that is not a big deal, because after bishop takes c4, the king is vulnerable to this discovered attack, which takes us straight to checkmate. Black has to resist. Rook goes to e5. Bishop retreats. And now black was just about ready to equalize with the rook e7. However, the problem is black's king exposed to this attack. And bishop c4 was the major idea when I was picking up the pawn on b5. So now bishop comes in with a lot of force. The king retreats to the corner, and I'm going to follow with the knight. And now the discovered attack, as you can see, h7 is vulnerable. Black is in trouble. If king goes to f8, I'm going to pick up the bishop on b7. And now c5 is hanging, 2 bishops coming in. Once again, black is losing. So in this position, after bishop e3, Ray decides to play bishop a6 to at least make sure that my bishop doesn't come in with that much force. I go ahead and make a queen. This is just about time to do that. And black's pieces are actually fairly well coordinated if only black had that extra move to play. Knight goes to d4, and to be honest, I wouldn't be happy with white's position at all. I think black would have advantage, if not winning advantage in this position. So time is on my side. I go and play rook d6, and that creates a big mess in black's position. If rook c8, I'm going to play bishop h3, engaging the bishop. If bishop b5, the way Ray continued in this position, I'm going to go ahead and target the bishop. Bishop takes, bring the bishop forward. King goes to the corner. And now bishop f7 is stronger than just winning the pawn here on g6. I want to not only win the pawn on g6, I want to put some pressure on h7 as well. Put some pressure on the king. So now I cannot play rook d8 since the knight on c6 is defending the square. But I can certainly pick up the pawn on h7, and it might be a bit of a surprise that I'm taking the pawn with the bishop. At this point, Ray was in quite a bit of a time trouble and can hardly do anything about preventing the discovered attack from the rook as the bishop is retreating. And I actually have a couple big time threats coming to e4, coming to c2, winning the bishop on a4. So I felt like the game was just about done right here. Black could try to make a couple checks. King retreats. b1 square is taken care of, which is very important. The bishop is controlling it. The rook cannot take advantage of it. Black can make another check. Then I'm taking off to g2. And my other rook is ready to engage right here. Bishop can come out to e4. My other rook will come in. So I guess Ray played pretty good right here. He continued bishop b5, and I didn't realize the power of bishop e4 check, where when the king retreats, I have the opportunity to pick up the pawn on c5. So that I didn't quite consider, because the general idea of just winning the knight is not going to work, since at the end of the variation I lose the rook on h1. So right about here, it turns out bishop c5 followed by bishop d5 finds black's king in trouble. Black can try to make another couple checks, and this is certainly something I didn't like. Had I considered this, rook coming towards a1, but this position actually black is really done. Bishop d5, I can win the rook or try to checkmate the king. So bishop e4 was the way to go, followed by winning the pawn on c5. And now I didn't play that. I played bishop d3, thinking that I was going to win the knight. However, bishop b5 just doesn't work, because rook takes b5. Same reason. I cannot take the knight because rook is coming in towards b1. So here I got to be careful to not blow the advantage, not to give it away. So bishop d3. Right about now I decided, well, time to win the pawn on c5 at least. My opponent continues knight e5, which is pretty tricky. Hitting the bishop, hitting the pawn on f3. I decide to go, after missing a couple things here and there, I decide to just go with the simplest continuation. So I pick up the bishop. Black continues to win the pawn on f3. I retreat the king. And this is easy for me to play. I win the pawn on a7. And this is a strong enough advantage of extra exchange and a pawn that I should be able to convert with a lot of confidence. So at first I tend to consolidate, and this allows me to play simpler, spend less time, whereas Ray is getting to be in time trouble. Ray approaches the king. I retreat the bishop, making sure everything is defended. This is a good strategy for playing short on time. Rook b2. I come in with my rook, king f5. Now I engage my king. And right about now, my pieces are all in the game. My rook has the opportunity to come in and hit the king. And this tells me, well, it's probably about time to win some more material. So at this point, black has to cover up knight e5, because losing one piece is going to mean losing the other piece right after. So as the knight covers up, I actually come up with a very clever solution here. I sacrifice the rook and make a deadly pin, hitting the rook and hitting the knight right there. Ray defends the knight, and At this point, I choose to just pick up the knight on e5. And this is a very clever idea once again, since if rook takes e5, taking the rook is going to be a winning endgame. However, here it's better for me to play f4 and retain the extra bishop. Rook d2, and now bishop retreats to c3. Also important detail, if rook f2, making it tricky for the rook, for my rook, because it's defended by the bishop, at the same time winning my only remaining pawn. It's just not going to work because of rook e2 discovered attack. So right about now, rook f2 is not possible. My opponent retreats. I attack the rook. Same idea. If black picks up the pawn on f2, I'm going to make a discovered check, winning the rook. Rook c2, bring the rook back, and here Ray resign because it's easy for me to defend the pawn. Bishop plus rook versus a rook plus an extra pawn is a totally winning advantage. So quite an exciting game, introducing us to the topic of h4 Grunfeld. Hopefully you guys are excited, and let's continue on with some of the considering some of the major games and variations in this system.
This is Grandmaster Damian Lemos here for onlinechesslessons.net. First of all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to receive more free chess videos from us, you can just click the subscribe button below. I would also highly recommend signing up for my free mail course, the 10 Grandmaster Secrets to Dominate Chess. During this exclusive course from onlinechesslessons.net, I'll share with you my own Grandmaster shortcuts to effective attacking, defending, and growth hacks to improving your chess without complicated books or memorization. So sign up by clicking the sidebar on the right, and I know you won't be disappointed. Once more, this is Damian for onlinechesslessons.net, and I'll see you in my videos. Thank you.